Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Hello. Give me a number one if anybody can hear me out there. JT, can you hear me? Jan, number one. All right. How you doing, Jan? JT, Pitbull, how is everybody doing? Hope everybody's staying warm. It is a little chilly outside, especially here in Florida. Yes, we're under a freeze warning tonight. It's supposed to could go down to 28. And brought in a lot of plants and stuff and put them all in the garage, and it's getting cold. Sunset's right about now, and it's just going to go down from there. It's not too enjoyable outside at the beach, if you get what I'm saying. So how's everybody doing? I hope everybody has been paying attention and been prepping. And today's video is on some things I think that everybody should try to get now, especially any new preppers that are watching this video or coming into this video. And I think there's a lot of things that play into what is taking place at this point in time. There are so many different things going on in this world. It is a scary type situation. Sunset, good to see you. Rakamas, hey, how you doing? 5 Below in mid New York. Yep, you can keep that. Been there, done that. Don't need that anymore. JT, we never use our heat, so I haven't had it checked in 2 years. We wouldn't dare turn it on. Well, I guess it's a good thing not to turn it on if you haven't used it. Our heat's been on more this past month, and then the AC's been on. But I'm going to give this a couple more minutes, and we'll see if somebody jumps in here real quick, and then we're going to get going on this video. As I was saying before, there's a lot that plays into this this video today with the whole unrest and the whole go lately. How you doing? The turmoil that's going on in this country, the division, the shortages, this whole trucker thing is. We're going to talk a little bit about that on this video today. We're also going to talk a little bit about what could be going on overseas, the conflict between us and Russia and how that could affect us, what my take is on the whole situation. The trucker thing is a really, really big thing, and it could go south really quick, folks. So you want to stick around for that part of it. I'm just checking the Sweet Liberty. Hey, how you doing? My chat is running a little slow here. Maybe it's the cold weather. It's not used to it. All right. So thanks everybody for jumping in here. And we're going to get going on this video real quick. And this way here, everybody, if they miss anything that comes in after this, they can always go back and rewatch. So as I was saying, the things that people really need to think about getting right now are some main staples to get you through anything. You can survive on these main staples. And you can see I have some right over here. Flour, you can make bread. Now, a lot of people would need yeast and other things, but you can go back in history, and if you look, you can find a recipe for it too. They make bread without anything, with just flour and water. So if you just had flour, you could make bread. I would suggest going back and Googling it, and this way here you could get the recipe how they do it. Because back then they used to do it with, they cooked it on like stones and things of that nature, hot stones. But it's something that's possible. Now, how well it tastes, that I don't know. I've never tried it. Maybe I'll have to try making some one day and see how it turns out. I'll have to search the recipe myself and see if I can figure that one out. The other thing you want to make sure you're getting is rice. All right. Because rice will last forever if you store it properly. And you can make anything with rice. You can eat just rice, or, it's one of those very long term food storage type deals. You can buy the rice. I've done several videos on rice itself. You can store it in different ways. And this way here, you always have something to eat. All right. Plain and simple. If you've been watching any of my videos, the reason I'm doing this video, the videos that I've been releasing on Sunday, which I have another one coming out tomorrow, it'll come out at noon. And I've been showing you all what has been taking place throughout the country, Canada too, and all the food shortages and stuff, and all the pictures that have been posted on social media. Now, I pull these off different social media sites, and there's a ton of them out there. Everybody's seeing it from the West Coast, East Coast, Canada, everywhere in the middle. It's all over the place. Now, a lot of people have commented and stuff that, well, we haven't seen anything in our area. Well, you're very lucky. And I'm very happy that there are, in some spots, maybe a little bit of something called normal, where you actually walk into a store and there's things on the shelf. But these staples, all right, pasta included, because pasta is really good. It'll last for a long time, and you can do a lot with pasta. So these few staples here, you could survive on right here. That's it. All right. But the point is, in all the pictures and stuff that I've been showing you, a lot of stuff, these products are off the shelves. They're not available. They're nowhere to be found. People are going from store to store to store to store to store. They're driving all over the place trying to find these said products, and they're having a hard time finding these things. So I would suggest, if you can find these said products, that I would highly recommend that you go and pick those products up, because this is kind of like your main staples you want to build off of right there. All right. Rice, pasta, flour, and I would do yeast. I mean, you can store it, vacuum seal it, throw it in your freezer. It's going to last for a while. Are you going to get 20, 30 years out of it? No, probably not. But it's something. You can always rotate it in and out or whatever, if you can get the product. Now, let's talk a little bit about this trucker shortage. With what's going on with the truckers in Canada, and with all the mandates and stuff that the Canadian government has put in place, a lot of the truckers are getting pretty ticked off. So they're looking to stick together. Now, throughout history, whenever the truckers have stuck together and they stop running, things change really quick. Because let me tell you, folks, if you think shortages are bad right now, if all these truckers start to stick together and they stop running, we're in a world of hurt here in North America. That concludes from Canada, United States, right down to Mexico. Because what's going to happen is, you're not going to be able to get anything. You won't have gas to put in your car. You won't have any food products to get. You won't have any things of any kind that you're going to buy at the store. Clothes, medicines, paper products, none of this kind of stuff, because it's not going to move. There'll be no furniture. You can forget about having your Amazon deliveries, your UPS deliveries, because if they all go, they're all going to go together. And more than likely, if that takes place, it's going to be a very, very bad situation for all of us. And that's why I think right now that is a crucial thing that everybody out there should be paying attention to. I don't care if you watch TV or if you want to watch the news or if you want to research it and follow it online, because believe it or not, it's all over Facebook and Twitter and all these different other sites. And people are documenting this whole trucker convoy that's headed to Ottawa. And they're making a statement, because what's taking place is they're not allowed, if they don't have the vaccine, they're not allowed to drive across the borders. All right. So now you've put a real hurting on a lot of those truckers, and you're trying to force them to get something just to deliver goods back and forth. And it's the same, they can't come in. So we can't send truckers in there, and truckers can't come out unless they've been vaccinated. So it's a hornet's nest, folks. So I really urge everybody to pay attention to, at least, because I know a lot of people don't like watching the news or the media and anything else, but somehow or another, you need to pay attention to what's going on with this, because if you hear them start talking about they're going to stop running, it is going to get ugly, and ugly quick. Now, we're going to go across the water and the whole game of chess that's going on between Russia, United States, Ukraine, and the whole 9 yards. And this is my opinion and my opinion only. I don't know if anybody out there has ever played the game of Risk. I happen to like that game, and I'm really good at that game. And that's kind of like what I see this playing out. But unfortunately, it's more of a chessboard at this point. And the two main countries that are involved in this is Russia and the United States. Russia sent their demands to the United States that they wanted guarantees that Ukraine would never be allowed into NATO. United States said, no, we're not doing that. We won't tell you that they'll never be in NATO. They sent it back to them and said, forget it. So when that all took place, then they started moving a bunch of other bombers and everything else and all their tactical equipment and stuff. They've been moving that even more closer to the border. They already flew planes and stuff into a town close to the border. So it's all on these little chess piece moves. The problem being is who's going to move the wrong chess piece, and it's going to end up in a death trap, a checkmate, where there's no other way out. Somebody's going to get backed into a corner, and they're not going to like it, and somebody's going to do something stupid, and the next thing you know, we're in World War III. Now, a lot of people, especially on YouTube, and even some news people and on the internet itself, believe that the war would be a good thing because everybody's economies are kind of taking a hit. If you've noticed, our stock market has been slipping. Bitcoin is going down the tubes and all this kind of stuff. But what happens when we go to war is, if you notice, all these companies that have anything to do with anything that would have something to do with going to war, their stocks are actually doing very well compared to all the other companies that are going down the tubes. And that is because if something happens and we go to war, that's where people are going to put their money. They're going to move it from one section to the other section because they're going to fall back. Because let's just put it this way. Historically speaking, every time we go to a war, it boosts our economy. People go to work. It brings people together. You know, it's a very sad thing to say that, but sometimes it takes something major. Not that I want a war. No, I don't want anybody taking this the wrong way or anything else. I'm just telling you the truth. If something happens and we go to war, it boosts the economy, it brings people together, and it takes light away from other problems. I'll leave it at that. You people fill in the blanks. Okay. So it's kind of like a smoke screen that overfills the valley, let's say, and everything else is covered up. And now we put the blinders on and we're concentrated on the one thing, which is war. Now, you have to sit back and you have to ask yourself, is it worth the blood of the American servicemen and women that serve this country to somehow or another get us out of this rut and this whole mess that we're in? I don't think so. I don't think there should be one boot put on the ground over there, but that's just me. Like I said, this was my opinion. I don't think that we should even be sending people over there. I mean, we already have men stationed. We have bases and everything else in Germany and all over the place, in France. They're everywhere. So, when they say that they're mobilizing these 8,500 troops and they're moving them into NATO friendly countries, as they did state, they're probably already there. I mean, France is a stone throws away. I mean, excuse me. Just think about that for a second. I mean, it's not that anything is it's not like they're taking them all from here and then they're moving everything over there and they're doing everything there. They already have everybody over there. Everything is already positioned and everything else. So that brings us back to the whole fact of why is it that we need to really be prepared? And if you've been following my channel at all, or if you've been following any YouTube channel at all, and you've been paying attention, we've all been talking about why you need to be prepared, what is coming. A lot of us have all, it doesn't take a lot of people to really see what is going on here. I mean, it's not a rocket scientist. You can read between the lines and you can tell who's telling the truth and who's bullshitting you, and how this is all playing out. And it's just, everything is just stacking up as we go along here. And in the end result, I do truly believe that somewhere down the road, Putin's going to take a little stab. He's going to move that one pawn on that chessboard, and he wants to see what happens. He wants to see what the United States is probably going to do. They said that they weren't going to put any men in Ukraine, but we don't know that. Now, do we? If it's, say, a full-on invasion, do you think the United States is going to sit back and not do anything? I find that very highly unlikely. I'm going to tell you that right now. That would be a complete disaster for the administration in Washington, because basically, okay, you sent some troops over and now you're just sitting back and you're watching people get killed or whatever, and the country overrun. They're not going to let that happen, because once they've already committed 8,500 troops, now remember, folks, we've got other bases over there with a lot more troops there, okay? All they have to do is pull them out of there and move them up into Ukraine, and the next thing you know, we've got a whole bunch of men and women that are involved in some war that we don't even need to be in. It's not our war to fight. It's kind of like Afghanistan. It's like Iraq. I remember when my brother went to Iraq in the first Gulf War. And he told me, he says, once we go, we own it. will always have a stake in what goes on there. And it's so true. I mean, even though, we don't have any men or anything else there, we're still overseeing things behind the scenes. And I know that for a fact. Can't tell you how I know that for a fact, but I know that for a fact. Things are still being watched over. You think we pull out of these countries and, okay, we might pull the men out, but it doesn't mean that we still not involved behind the scenes. There's always something going on. There's always somebody watching, reporting what they see. Just think about it. It's only logic. So we get back to these few ingredients right here could be the difference between you surviving and not surviving. Just having just those few ingredients. All you need is water. So as long as you have water, if you live up north, you can always melt snow. Yes, I do know that it takes a lot of snow to melt to make a gallon of water. I do understand that. But in an emergency type situation, if that's what you had to do, then by God, you're going to melt snow to get water to cook with. You need the water to make your bread. You need your water to make the rice. You need your water to make your pasta. And if you've been doing your preps and stuff, like I've been telling you and showing you and everything else, you'll make sure that you have your meat staples. You have your canned vegetables. Maybe you can your own vegetables. You have all these different things. This way here, you and your family can survive. All right, let me jump over here and see who else is in here. And let me get back in the chat. At this point, I have to put on the glasses. All right, let me scroll back up. Sweet Liberty. I really could care less if I see snow flurries, but I mean, hey, it's not really going to stick. I mean, our ground's way too warm. Rakamas, I have my heat set on 59 today. I think right now it was -2 when I went to sleep this morning outside. Actual temperature. Whew. John Jones, hey, how you doing? Hardtack. Yeah, there you go. There's quite a few different things that you can make that you can go on and YouTube some of the things. They're just like these solid blocks that they used to make back in the 17th and 18th century, and that's what the either the farmers would take out, or if they were out hunting, or during any wars, and I mean, this kind of stuff is out there, and people survived on this stuff. Pitbull, you need salt, and without yeast, wouldn't it be like matzah? I don't know. I don't know how that would turn out, but I just know that way back in history that they used to just use flour and water, and they would just put it all together, and then they would just have these big like dough balls, and they would cook them on hot rocks. I'll have to see if I can research that and find out, and then I'll let everybody know. Pixac Prepper, how you doing? Thank you for joining in today. Food is the currency of life. Yes, it is. And the reason that is so true, and that's why on a lot of some of my videos, especially my rice videos, how I break down my rice and everything else it goes along with that right there, because if you break your rice down into 1 cup, 3 cups, 5 cups, however you want to do it, depends on your family and everything. You'd have to go back and watch the video. I explain it all, but just in a nutshell, this way here, you have something that's worth something, even if you don't have any cash, silver, gold, or anything else. But other people may need that. And then they may have something you need. So if you have something to barter with, you're in a much better situation than the other 75 to 80% of the people that are out there. Just remember that. John Jones, hello from Indiana. I was born and raised in Indiana. Pixac Prepper is from Southeast Virginia. Did you get a lot of snow? Pasta has been pretty cleaned out the last month or so. Yeah, I know. It's insane. And as soon as they throw it on the shelves, that's why I've urged people in my last few videos and stuff. You got to get out there and you got to get to the stores first thing in the morning. There's just no ifs. If the store opens at 6, drag your butt out of bed and get down there and be there at 6 when they open the doors. And make sure you go into a store like I've talked about, that you know the layout of the store, and go in there and head straight for those sections if those are the things that you're looking for. Whatever it is, prioritize however you want to, XYZ, and that's how you go. And go in there, and it's like a marathon, folks. You're just boom, and don't be surprised if you start seeing a lot of signs and stuff where they're going to start putting limits out, because I have been doing a little bit of reading on that, and it seems that in some states, some stores, they're starting to limit a lot of products, not just few products, a lot of products. So just saying, folks. Sunset, rest dough for 2 days, cover with damp cloth, redamp 2 times per day. On third, bake and cook. It works. See, there we go. Very good. We barter with local large acre farmers all the time. I mean, when I was growing up in Indiana, my father, that's what he used to do. But what he used to barter with was, my father was an excellent mechanic. He could work on anything. So he would work on all the farmers' equipment and everything else. And in return, we always got either eggs, we would get chicken, we would get, when they would slaughter cows, we'd get beef or pigs. We always got fresh butter, fresh milk. That's just how it was. But my dad maintained all his tractors and all his equipment. So, dad did the work, and that's what we got in return. That's how dad got paid. Rakamas, oh yeah, we've been hit hard, but not many stores in the country. Got a ton of yeast in the freezer. Yep, there you go. So do I. I found those. I don't know if you can still get them or not, if they're still available on Amazon. I bought those. They're the 1 pound blocks. They come vacuum packed, and I just threw those suckers right in the freezer. That was a long time ago. That was 2 years ago, a year ago, something. Flour and cornmeal are hard to find in my area. I can still get rice at the grocery that has mostly Hispanics. Well, they're going to have, they're going to push, they got to have it. Truckers stop, military begin. This is true, but then they're going to have to get the truckers moving again, because they're going to have to have those goods moving. So the government will have to do something, either change the rules, bend the rules, whatever. But if we end up going into war, the stuff has to move. All these huge companies, Grumman and all these big companies, need these products moved all around the country to these different plants, because each one does a little bit different. So unless they're going to have the military try to do it all for them, I don't see that happening, folks. Jan, also canned roast beef and paper products are in short supply. Yep. I did see, I forget where I saw it at. I saw it today. Somebody posted a picture, and it was a picture of the paper plates and how much they were, and they had a receipt where they bought them like 6 months ago. It was half the price. Back then, they were like $5 or something for these Dixie, 10-inch plates, paper plates, and now they are 10 something. So it's just, it's amazing, folks. So yeah, I agree, JT. Sweet Liberty. Hey, well, thank you for listening. At least, I mean, I do appreciate that, and a lot of people do that nowadays. They'll throw something, an earbud in or something, and keep going, and they just kind of like listen right along. Pixex, you're right. Yep, it's very depressing. Rakamas, yep, it is. But here's the thing, folks. We have to find a silver lining somewhere. We have to try to concentrate on what we can control, what we have control over. There's a lot of things in this world, in this country, and everything else that go on that we can't control. We're kind of along for the ride, but we can't control it. So it gets very depressing sometimes. I mean, everybody gets depressed, watching all this crap and everything else. And that's why I urge a lot of people, don't even bother. But there's, like I've said, there's issues that you have to pay close attention to. Being said, you have to take a break from it too. Don't sit there and watch this stuff 24/7. You'll drive yourself nuts. Pixax prepper stores empty and moving to large scale government bunkers for Congress and families. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I've talked about in some videos is they don't really have much of a plan for us. We're pretty much on our own if something happens, and the birds are flying back and forth across the water, if you get what I'm saying. Um, so we have to try to be prepared and ready for ourselves and our families, because the bunkers that they have throughout the country, from Colorado, Pennsylvania, New York, they're scattered everywhere. Those aren't for us. Those are for all the high officials, the government officials, the military officials, right down to the janitor. It's not for us. We paid for it, but it's not for us. Nice, huh? All right, we'll get off that subject. JT told my son what might happen, but as usual, he won't do anything, and I'll end up spending a fortune mailing him food or toilet paper. Yeah, JT, I agree. I don't know. My kids know what I do. And they're both up north. I think my daughter pays more attention to it than my son. I could be wrong, but it is a. I guess until the shit hits the fan. Sometimes people just want to tend to believe that everything's going to be fine. They can walk into a grocery store, they can get whatever they want. But let's all go back to March of 2020, and how did that all work out? Not very good. Breakfast, much food for 2 to 4 years. Well, there you go. Where is VP Harris checking out the government bunkers? Touche. Oh, MBG, hey, how you doing? Sorry to have missed some of the live video. That's okay. I'm glad you showed up. Thank you for coming in. Lots of snow in Maine. Yeah, yeah. Sweet Liberty, you're right. It's a great night for chili. That it is. Sunset. JT, there is only so much that you can do. Average of 1 million calories per year per person. Hmm. Please die. She's in South America eating good. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with this. I mean, it seems like every time you turn on the news, there's more cops have been gunned down somewhere and everything else. I mean, people are just, it's out of control. JT, sunset, when you put it that way, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, I mean, if you start really prepping for a year, 2 years, and everything else, yeah, there's your friend right there. That's got to be like your base starting right there is pasta and rice, and then just build off that. And this way here, I mean, it's the simplest way, folks. I mean, because now, I mean, a lot of the freeze dried goods. I mean, a lot of the companies are great. There's quite a few different companies. I like several of them. I don't have a favorite. I have several of them that I like and I buy from, which I think most prepper channels do. I mean, they may be endorsed or something by one of those companies or something. But they if you ever watch their videos and you see in their backdrops and different things, you'll see that they have different types of freeze dried foods. Okay. So they're not going to be buying this stuff if they don't like it. All right. Because it's expensive. And now the prices of these freeze dried foods are just gone through the roof. I pre-ordered back in October because I saw the prices were going to be jumping. So I pre-ordered um, a bunch of different freeze-dried foods. I'm going to be doing a video on some of these things here soon. But I pre-ordered, the number 10 cans, the big things, because, I was getting them between 20 and 30 bucks and so on and so forth. But I pre-ordered them and they weren't going to ship until January. I mean, when I ordered them in October, that's what they told me, that they're going to be shipping in January. And they did. They shipped in January, and but the thing of it is when I pre-ordered these things, I pay between 20 and $30. Now, certain ones of these are between 50 and $60, and the other ones are between 30 and $50. So, I mean, for the same product that I bought then, and now it's some of it's almost double. It's for a lot of people with the inflation and everything else, the freeze dried foods are out of the question because they can't even afford to go buy the basics right here just because of the prices and stuff are going so high. I mean, you got to figure if you're just working a standard job and say you got 4 kids, things are tough. Back in the chat here. Oyster stew. Wow, I haven't had that in years. Sunset. All wars are bankers' wars. It's a big business for the PTB. Yep. There's an administration in Washington. Again, only pest dispensers. Hey, Trapper Bob Parrot. Patriot, how you doing? I just jumped like crazy. Holy cow. Oh. Sorry, folks. My screen just jumped and I just lost exactly where I was. 50 miles away, 3 feet of snow, 7-mile winds, and I'm okay with -5 and a couple inches. Yeah. Flour and water, you can make sourdough starter for bread. Go lately. Yeah, that's true. That is so true. I figured out you'd be like flour tortillas, which is well shortening and salt and flour and water. See, there's a lot of ways you can do a lot of these things. And what's really good is if a lot of people, especially if they're new or whatever else, and they're watching some of these, and I appreciate how everybody comments and everything, because that's the trick here, folks, is if somebody's new, they don't know, you're giving them all this information, and it's putting ideas into people's heads that, hey, I can do a lot with that if I just have the right ingredients. I mean, so that's what makes the channel, is everybody putting in the, what goes on. Irish soda bread. Yep. I don't think that has yeast. Yes, I think you're right. John Jones, there is some hardtack from 1856 that's still edible. Flour, waters, and salt. Bake at low heat. I mean, some of that stuff is you can't kill it, folks. I mean, it's Sunset, survival preparedness for beginners, Vermont or Florida, which do you prefer? Well, can I pick a season? I like them both, but I mean, if I had to really choose, um, I would have to go with Vermont, just for the fact that that's where all my family is, my grandkid is, and everything else. Um, it is beautiful up there. I don't miss the winters, but eventually I do plan on heading back that way. Um, and I'll just get used to them again. I don't plan on doing what I'm doing now up there. No, I'm going to retire down here and then I can go up there and be with my kids and my grandkids and everything else. Just scrolling down through here. Darn Russian bots. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of those stupid things, and thank you for deleting those things out, JT. I don't know. I think I think that's what Russia has planned for us. I really do. I don't think there's going to be anything flying back and forth across the waters. They're going to hit us with these cyber attacks and shut us right down and cripple us. And then it's going to get real interesting, folks. It ain't going to matter if the truckers are moving or not. Elizabeth, good to see you. I'm nervous here because I don't know one like me, and my husband is not trustable people, I believe. So sad. IRS all going down, and around me, no one believed me. There's a lot of Canadians on the lines. You have to ask what town and city they're in. You might find a like-minded person. This is true. I mean, you get these. It's so tough, especially if you don't know people and anything else, and you don't know anybody that knows kind of people that maybe you could get into a group with. I mean, that makes it really difficult, because nowadays, you're putting your trust, and the way the world is, it's not like it was 50 years ago. I mean, it's totally, we've gone totally backwards. We're going away from the whole thing here. According to the current administrations, we're already nuts. Yeah, this is true. Pitbull baking powder should always be kept on hand. Yes. Pepper Bob, Patriot. I don't want to be in a government bunker. I'm better off on my own. This is true. I mean, because then you're pretty much stuck in there. Because once they close that door, you ain't getting out. So if you get claustrophobic, you're pretty much screwed. Um, scroll down through here. Ooh, that sounds good, Pitbull. Use baking powder from my grandma's baking powder biscuits with homemade sausage gravy. Rockamas, Indianapolis is ridiculous. Yeah, I used to live there, and I still have a lot of friends that live there, and I think it's still going that way. Pitbull survival, it will get worse. Going down through here. Sweet Liberty says, I listened to a live show this morning, and Jonathan Hollerman made a good point when he said a city or two or more in America might get hit with a cyber attack before Russia hits Ukraine with one. Well, that would only make sense. I mean, that would be a good smokescreen for Russia to throw up, if they hit us and then hit Ukraine and then open the door and go in, How long will pasta last in an original box? MBG, I wouldn't keep an original box any longer than I wouldn't go any longer than a year. And that's pushing it. It depends on how you can store it. If you can temperature control store it and all that, keep it, dry and everything else, fine. If not, I'd vacuum seal it, put it in a Mylar bag, put it in canning jars and vacuum seal them. This way here, it's going to last you for a long time, very long time. Rockamasa, I wouldn't really trust my neighbors. Yeah, I've got a few that I would right here where I live. Rather than that, no, I don't think I would. Not nowadays. Now, where we used to live, closer to um, down that way, south, the neighborhood we were in for quite a long time, and we had some really good neighbors there, and I would trust them. And which was nice is, um, well, three of them were doctors, so I mean, it was perfect, Yukon Cornelius, the CIA is going to attack our own grid and blame U.S. domestic patriots. Yeah, I've heard that there have been a lot of talk about all this different kind of stuff that everybody thinks it's going to be going on and everything else. And I just think it's just more of the media BS, and it's just enough is enough, folks. Sometimes this is somebody here. I got a question for everybody. All right, here's the question: if you have cable, which more than likely you do, cable, satellite, doesn't matter. Okay. However, you watch TV, all right, you're paying for that service, right? Now, wouldn't one think that, okay, if you're paying for the service, you could choose the channels that you wanted to watch, and you don't want to watch this channel, you just don't get that channel. Why is it we can't do that? because there's a lot of channels I could get rid of in a heartbeat, and charges per the channels that we're watching, not for all these channels that we're not going to watch. Oh yeah, you got 3,000 channels. Yeah, you watch 10. The rest of it's just BS. I mean, come on. Oh, I mean, it's just vacuum sealed it, will last for decades. I keep all my pasta in these big, thick Ziploc closed bags that I got from the Dollar Tree. We got bugs once and brewed about 30 boxes. Now it can't happen. Yep, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I wouldn't take any chances. As soon as if you're not going to use it within a few months, I wouldn't chance it. I would just automatically store it away. However you can afford to store it away. If you use like JT did with the bags, or if you use Marlar bags, you can use your FoodSaver bags. You can put them in canning jars and do them that way. However you can do it, because think of it this way, folks. It's your hard-earned money that you're spending on these food products and stuff, but you have to make sure that you have some way to store these things so that they don't go bad, so you don't waste them. I mean, if you're going to buy a lot of these different products, I mean, there's 20 pounds of rice right there. That can feed me and my wife for a very long time, if you get what I'm saying. So you want it to last. Don't waste your money. Make sure you have some way to store your products before you start your prepping. That is key. And speaking of which, I keep forgetting to tell everybody, I don't know if anybody has noticed, but I finally have an Amazon storefront. I finally got approved for it and everything else. It's all set up, it's all running, and there's lots of products in there. So if you click in the description of videos like this one here, all right, or any of the other videos that I've done in the last few weeks, you'll see the Amazon storefront right there, and you click on that and go in there, and a lot of the products and stuff that I use and everything else are all right in there, and they're ready to go. And if you have any questions about any of them, shoot me an email. Right now, there's a lot of stuff that just ain't available, folks. I mean, it's getting bad out there, but and then the prices are going sky high. What is it? I was reading Berkeley water filters or something next month are supposed to be jumping like double the price or something. It's some ungodly. I mean, this inflation thing's got to go really quick. Let me see if I can get back to where I was. Jan, I only have internet. I haven't watched TVs in years. My time is too valuable to waste. You know what, Jan? You're not missing anything. Yeah, MBG, you need to get you need to get all your stuff. If you've been buying preps and stuff, you got to start figuring out how you're going to put it away and store it, and then make sure that nothing happens to it, especially sugar. And you have to be real careful with salt, how you're storing the salt and stuff, because a lot of people, you see them, they'll store their, it comes in the cardboard round containers, and I've seen people buy flats of them and stuff. You can go on YouTube and search these videos out, but people have stored them like that, and what happens is salt draws moisture. So if you put them into someplace, and you might think it's dry, but if there's any moisture in the air, it's going to draw into that, and then it ruins the salt, the cardboard. The next thing you know, you've thrown it all in the trash. So you got to make sure you're doing something. It's like going to a restaurant and forced to pay for food you didn't order. Yeah, this is true. Peters, how you doing? Over 2 weeks, unplug them to reduce electricity use. AT&T sucks power. Oh wow. So is that the other bot? I'm guessing. I'm storing my long-term food supplies outside, and my squirrels, they go moo and require grass to stay good. Huh, there you go. Go get him, Jan. Mimas, Homestead and Preparedness. Hey, how you doing? I vacuum sealed. Oh, would this thing stop jumping? I sealed boxes of mac and cheese, but now I'm thinking about cooking several jars and putting them in the dehydrator. Hey, there you go. I mean, with a lot of things that we prep and that we prepare and we put away for long term, some of the stuff is, it's kind of common sense. But then there's other things where you sit back and you're asking yourself, hey, would that work? And you know what? It doesn't hurt to try something. See how it comes out. You may stumble across something that nobody else has. I mean, you don't know. You won't know until you try. How do you store drinking water? I'm using 7-gallon aqua containers. John, I for storing water, I mean, water is probably the hardest thing to store. It really is. I mean, especially if you're in a small space, a small apartment, small townhome, um, but I mean, you just have to be so careful. It takes up the most space. It weighs the most. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can store it in the water bricks. A lot of people use the water bricks because with the water bricks, they're stackable. So you can stack those suckers up. Um, I have like jerry cans, they're plastic that I use for hurricane season. So when hurricane season gets here or whatever else, I'll fill them up and I put them into a spare room where they're temperature controlled inside the house. Because down here in Florida, come summertime, you don't store anything that you'd like to eat out in the garage because it's 120, 30 degrees out there and it ain't going to last very long at all. So everything gets stored into, a spare room. And this way here, I have plenty of water. For emergency situations, I would also highly suggest if you have a bathtub, you can take and you can buy what they call a bathtub bladder. And you can take and put that in your bathtub and fill it up with water and then seal it off. And then you have however many gallons of water your tub will hold is in that bag. I mean, there's certain ways you can do it, but some ways is you do it before the disaster may strike. Storing it, I'd make sure that you have ways to filter the water. Make sure you have ways to the water filtering tablets that you can drop in, like the chlorine tablets. You can use bleach. You can use the bleach tablets like for pools, like the pool shock, but you have to know what you're doing because you don't want to get too much of it. But these are just some alternatives because storing water, that's a tough one. That's pretty good, Trapper Bob. The sugar, the salt. That's nice. Yeah, see, there's other ways you can get around. I mean, like Jan said here, I mean, you if you have just internet, you still can watch TV. Yeah, there's another one of those bots. Oh, Rakamas, I can understand that. I mean, a gallon of water. I mean, you're talking over 8 pounds. I mean, they get heavy. And Jan, that's funny. Thanks for the ideas, John. You're welcome, man. I mean, water is probably one of the hardest things that you can store long term. It just really is. The way you want to get around that is having ways to filter the water, ways to purify the water, to clean the water, ways to get water. Know where your water sources are, um, and take it from there. Because storing thousands and thousands of gallons of water, most of us don't have those kind of huge tanks. You know. Yes, Sunset, that's about how you have to break it down, how much you need for cleaning, for laundry, dishes, personal per day, you know, and eating, you know. Um, that's a big one. You can always take your clothes and take them down and uh, wash them in the river or something, I mean, if you have one by you or something. Big Sky Dreamer 26. I just want to let you know your link to your Amazon store is not working. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with this thing. It starts off with the HTTP, then the slash slash, and it's supposed to be www.amazon. And if I change it to just www.amazon, then it works. But for some reason, YouTube keeps switching it back around every time that I change it, even though if I change it permanently in my whole computer system, I don't get it. And then you change it back and it doesn't work. If you just do the www part, it works. I I I don't know what's going on. I don't know who I have to contact to figure that one out, but I guess I'll have to try to figure that out. But thank you for letting me know, Big Sky Dreamer 26. Um, a pool is good storage. Yeah. Yep. All right, folks. So we're going to start wrapping this up. We've been here a little over an hour now. I'd like to thank everybody for being here, and especially all my moderators and everything else. Remember one thing, folks. Okay. Remember this. All right. These staples right over here, your flour, your rice, your pasta, yeast, these things right here are what you want to start basing a lot of your different recipes for emergency situations need to be based off of. Okay. Because these things are going really quick. My videos that I've been showing you every Sunday, and I have one coming out tomorrow at noon, another one with more pictures, folks, and everything else. And I talk more about this whole trucker shortage and everything. So tune in for that one. That's at noon tomorrow. But these are the few things, if you can find them still, that you need to make sure you have. Plain and simple. So if you're a new prepper and you're new here and you're new to prepping and everything else, this is a good starting point right here. And then you want to build off of that. You go back and through and watch some of my videos. You can click, if you start off with the top videos on my channel, all right, and you go down through, you're going to see some great videos on how to store your rice and the ways that I do it. You're going to see how to store all your dry goods, best canned goods that you can get. I mean, it's all right there for you, folks. All right. Because I truly care for everybody that's out here that watches all my videos, that's part of this channel. Whether you subscribe or you always watch, because I know there's a lot of people that watch, but they haven't subscribed. I don't know why that is, but I know two people personally, and they just haven't subscribed yet, but they always watch my videos. But anyways, this is for everybody that's out there. I truly care, and I truly started this channel to make a difference, to make a positive change in the way that people look at how they need to be prepared in case of any type of an emergency that comes along. And Lord knows, over the last 2.5 years that I've had my channel now, um, we've had quite a few. So until next time, folks, next Saturday, I will see you all. I want everybody to stay safe, keep prepping, don't take your eye off the ball, be positive, keep your head above water, because together We'll all make it to the other side. But the trick is we have to stick together and work as a team, which there's not much of nowadays in this country. So I'm thankful for all of you. So until next time, folks, I hope you all have a great week. I'll see you tomorrow on my video at noon. Don't forget to watch. Stay safe, people. I'm out.